Hey everybody, welcome back to the Blockbusters show. I'm Adam Sykes, and we have a weird one today. We have a culty classic, as it were. We're talking about Tammy and the T-Rex.
Is that really you in there? Oh, Michael, what have they done to you?
Oh, you poor thing. You gone crazy.
Byron, I am not going crazy. This is just a little hard to explain.
That's my dinosaur! We found the dinosaur, Sheriff. It's in a truck being driven by your son.
Byron?
Yes, sir. See a couple of folks back at the hospital. They say he stole it.
Stole what?
The dinosaur.
I will give you immortality!
Not if Tammy has anything to say about it. Tammy and the T-Rex.
An evil scientist implants the brain of Michael, a murdered high school student, into a Tyrannosaurus. He escapes, wreaks vengeance on his high school tormentors, and is reunited with his sweetheart Tammy. So the movie starts with our two main characters, Tammy, played by a very young Denise Richards, and her boyfriend, played by the late, great Paul Walker. They establish very early on that she has like a psycho ex-boyfriend who's like at one point breaks into her house because he's like, you better not be around my girl, and he breaks into her house at one point, and I'm like, that's breaking and entering. Like, this guy is such a psycho, it's like amazing that he's not in prison. One thing leads to another. He takes the young Paul Walker and kills him, but in a very strange way. He does it by feeding him to lions. While all that's going on, you have a mad scientist played by the guy who played Bernie in Weekend at Bernie's, and his little entourage, his little posse of like some hot woman, some other scientist guy, and some muscle dude. Their big plan is they want to build a robot dinosaur that can only be powered through a human brain. Why they just don't make the robot dinosaur like remote controlled or have AI or something, I don't know. He just wants it to be powered by a human brain, apparently. They head on down to the morgue, try to find a brain that they could use, and they end up taking the brain out of Paul Walker. And yes, they now have his brain powering the robot dinosaur, and this is where the movie's tone becomes a little bit confusing, because it alternates between being a very gruesome horror movie, which seems like that was their original plan, very similar to other stuff we talked about before, like Garbage Pail Kids. It alternates between that and trying to be a goofy screwball comedy. Like, even the poster has, Denise Richards riding on the back of the dinosaur, and they try to make it like, oh, wacky, it's gonna be some wacky adventures, it's Tammy and the T-Rex. But at the same time, there's these scenes where the dinosaur brutally murders people. The best part of it is, the movie recently got re-released on Blu-ray, and there's even more like graphic shit in that cut of the movie. And it makes me just wonder, why couldn't they settle on one or the other? Have it that the kid is now reincarnated as a vicious, carnivorous dinosaur, or have it be this goofy, wacky rom-com where, uh-oh, it's two star-crossed lovers, but he's a dinosaur. Have it be one or the other. He finds out that his body is now a robot dinosaur, and he kills off the muscle guy by stepping on him. And by that, I mean one of the movie's amazing special effects moments where you have what are obviously prop dinosaur feet that are being puppeteered from the top of the screen. And they have it that it steps on the guy, and then they have a really shitty composite shot of the dinosaur walking forward. And most of the time, they show the dinosaur from like the torso up. And whenever they show it like in a full-on shot, they try to cover the platform that it's on with like bales of hay, or there's a part where they're carrying it in a truck and you only see the top of its head. Then the Paul Walker dinosaur makes his way to this party being hosted by Denise Richards, which she seems like she doesn't even want to have. It seems like she's really upset by the fact that, her boyfriend died. And then the dinosaur goes on a murderous rampage and starts attacking people. Then establish some other characters. We've got some cops that are like, giant dinosaur, that sounds crazy. Just like the cops did in Killer Clowns from Outer Space. We also establish a comic relief character who tags along with Tammy and the dinosaur. He's a friend of theirs, and the big joke with him is that he's a stereotypically flaming black gay guy. Then there's a scene where the dinosaur actually convinces Denise Richards that it is actually Paul Walker's brain in the dinosaur, because he offers her a rose, and then he eats the rose to show that he's friendly. And the fact that he offered her a rose shows that it's actually Paul Walker, because that was something he did at the beginning of the movie. While all that's going on, mad scientist Bernie finds out where the dinosaur is, and they're like, we gotta track it down and reclaim our dinosaur. While that's going on, Denise Richards, the black gay guy, and the dinosaur are at the morgue, and they're trying to find a new body for him, and they're doing it like they're trying to pick out a pair of shoes at the mall. I feel like that was supposed to be a joke, but I was just like, I feel like that was a joke, but just like a lot of the stuff in this movie, it's just so dumb it's not that funny. They realize that Bernie and friends are on their trail. They decide to hop in the truck that's hauling the dinosaur and get out of there. They stop at a barn, and then there's this big meetup where the cops show up, Bernie and friends show up. Bernie tries to stop the dinosaur, but the dinosaur just eats him. By eats him, I mean there's a shot where it shows his mouth going up and down, and you hear Bernie screaming, and then they put like fake blood oozing out of his mouth, and a bunch of really disconnected shots that try to make it look like he's eating him. You know, this is just a hunch, and call me crazy, but I feel like this movie probably didn't have much budget to work with. But hey, that's just a theory, a game theory. Hot lady assistant just kind of runs away once she sees Bernie is dead, and then the cops pull out their guns and shoot down the robot dinosaur, and Denise Richards is sad again. Then we get one of the most baffling movie endings ever, because we see Denise Richards, and she gets home from work, and then she goes upstairs and she's very happy, and then we see that she's talking to someone, and then you find out that it's Paul Walker as a brain in a jar hooked up to a computer so that he can talk. Then what she does is she pours some alcohol on his brain as like a drink for him, and then she starts doing a striptease, and then the brain like leaks electric sparks, and then it just shows her dancing around doing a striptease, and then she lays down on the bed, and the brain of Paul Walker says something like, "Oh, you gotta get me a body, I can't keep living like this," and then the movie just ends. And I'm like, what the hell was that? This movie's bad, but it's amazingly bad. This movie's playing in the same league as other classic so bad they're good movies like Cool Cat, Flying Ryan, Amazing Bulk, Skateboard Kid, all those kinds of movies where it's just so bafflingly bad that it actually kind of borders on being amazing in how stupid everything is. Bad effects on the dinosaur, some of the really weird editing choices, the really bizarre tonal confusion where it wants to be like a screwball comedy about a girl hooking up with a dinosaur, and it also wants to be a gory horror movie about a dinosaur that kills people. And then the really weird ending where it becomes like bizarrely sexual for some reason. I can totally see why this movie became a so bad it's good cult classic, because it is. It's the kind of movie that if you love watching bad movies and like making fun of them, this is perfect because it's got it all. It's got everything that you expect from some of those so bad they're good great movies that we've talked about on this show before. I do have to preface this with, if you're looking for an actual movie, watch something else. Like, so bad they're good movies like this, you don't watch. You watch them to make fun of them. But if you're looking for an actually good movie from the 90s about dinosaurs, just watch the first Jurassic Park again. I do have to say this though, compared to the last movie we've talked about for Blockbusters show, which had dinosaurs, Theodore Rex, this is way better than that. Theodore Rex was just boring and stupid, but this movie is the kind of stupid where, like I said, it's just so bizarre and so dumb and so bad that it actually makes watching it a blast. Yeah, we finally found another so bad it's good classic for the Blockbusters show. It's been a while because it seems like we've been doing nothing but bad parody movies, bad kids movies, generic mainstream family movies that are just inoffensive and bland. But now we finally have gone back to our roots and found a movie that is so bad it's amazing. So yeah, thank you, Tammy and the T-Rex. As for the next episode of the Blockbusters show, we're going to be looking at another amazingly bad film that is also a love story, just like this one, except instead of a teenage girl hooking up with a robot dinosaur, we're going to be watching a movie about a girl hooking up with a dog. The movie in question is 2011's Love on a Leash, so we'll see how bad that is when we get to it. Until then, I'm Adam Sykes of the Blockbuster Show, and we will see you guys in the next video.